Hey gamers, Stogie here, and I am back. And today I am bringing you guys another SVU gameplay in my Road to SVU #1. And in this episode, I'm playing with a bunch of Digital Warfare 24/7 friends, and they are also using the SVU. Kind of a cool game. We were all playing together, and in support of my movement, these guys all wanted to use the SVU as well. And you'll see that this ends up being a pretty good gameplay. I don't die at all in this first half, and then I die after a little while in the second half, end up going on a relentless. It was pretty good. One of my goals I thought when I started this was going to be to get a nuclear with the SVU, and I haven't gotten one yet, but I mean a relentless from where I've come from is pretty good because I'm not a natural sniper. So anyway, what I'd like to talk about in this commentary has nothing to do with the gameplay, so after we got that out of the way, I wanted to introduce the topic. Today I'd like to talk and discuss challenges. And challenges can take many shapes and forms in your life, and for me, this was a challenge. So, running the SVU only for Lord knows how many days was a severe challenge, because I'm a natural rusher, so, you know, this gun got on my nerves, but I stuck with it. I'm continuing to go through it, and I'm just about at the end of the road. For you guys, there may be some challenges you're thinking about Call of Duty-wise, but one thing that I feel I can bring to commentaries and that I haven't been doing a whole lot and I'd like to start is kind of discussing my personal life and some of the things that I've gone through and that I'm currently going through. And today I just got back from my mountain climb out in Washington State where I summited Mount Rainier, and it was one of the hardest things. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I've climbed a couple other mountains. The tallest was Mount Cotopaxi in Ecuador. It was 19,400 feet. And that at the time was the toughest thing that I had done in my life. It was really, really challenging. But I got to tell you, this Mount Rainier climb was probably 3 times harder. I faced some really tough decisions on the mountain, and I'm going to talk to you guys about those a little bit today and talk to you about how I would like to challenge each and every one of us to be better people, to do what's right and do what's more important in our lives than some of the other things we may choose to do on a regular basis, because in my opinion that's one of the most challenging things we, as mostly young guys, we're mostly young guys here, face. So in terms of your personal life, if you have a wife or if you have kids, it's a challenge to put your wife in front of your kids and to put your kids in front of other relationships and things you may want to do in your life. And for me, it's something that I realize on a daily basis I need to be cognizant of. I need to be cognizant of challenging myself to put my wife ahead of everybody else in my life, to make that relationship the most important, because ultimately that's what's going to lead to a healthy and prosperous life for me and my family. And then second to that, you know, I have a 1.5-year-old, and my wife's pregnant again and has another one on the way, so I have a lot of responsibilities with my new kids and young kids to be a really good father to them. So it's, again, there's a challenge placed before you, and you can accept it or you can't, and it's not always going to be easy, and that challenge is to give your kids the time and attention that they deserve. Don't put things like playing Call of Duty or going out with friends or taking a really risky mountain climb ahead of your family. So for me, I'd like to go back to the mountain climb. This was one of the things I encountered on the mountain. I did a lot of research, and I thought that this was going to be a fairly straightforward climb. There's classifications for difficulty, and in terms of the gear list and classification, this climb was no different than anything else that I had done previously. So I felt pretty comfortable about it. But when I got on the mountain, first day was about 5,000 feet with a 50-pound pack on my back, and you know that wasn't any problem for me. I made it to Camp Muir, which was their mid camp on the mountain, and no big deal. The next day we did some technical training with ice axes and rock climbing and rappelling with harnesses and whatnot, and then we marched on up to high camp. And this was the first time that the guides really said anything about, hey, you got to be careful here or you could, you know, cost yourself an injury. So as we're marching from where we are to high camp, it's about an 1,100 foot elevation change. We're going in front of a wall that's about 1,200 feet high, and it's all made of ice and rock, and at any point in time you have no control over this. That ice or rock could fall and it could take you out. Now, you know, what they said to us is this stuff generally falls at foot level, so if it falls, just kind of wait for it to come to you and then move out of the way at the last second. So that was kind of the first instance where I thought, you know, hey, this is somewhat dangerous. That's more than I had to worry about the last time I was on the mountain. So I get to high camp, and we can see the mountain. You guys are going to see this because I'm putting together a video of my whole trip. I vlogged some while I was up there. You guys are going to get to see me in person. It'll be pretty cool. I'm going to do a video on it, so you'll get to see everything I'm talking about. But we get to high camp, and I'm sitting there looking around myself, and there's a 1,100-foot rock cliff to my right. There is about 500 crevasses between me and the summit of Mount Rainier. If you don't know what crevasses are, they're cracks in the glacier. It's where the glacier separates, and it just kind of makes a crevice that just goes down for hundreds and hundreds of feet. Basically, if you fall in one, you're dead, so it's very consequential. And I'm looking around, and I'm starting to get intimidated by this mountain, and so our guides sit us down, and they say, hey, listen, don't take this lightly. Here's all the things that you guys are going to encounter. Here's the challenges that you're going to face, and we need you guys to give us a commitment and be ready for them before we go up. So, personally, I was thinking about going forward that night and saying, I'm not up for the challenge. I do not want to risk my life for this mountain peak because I got a family at home. I have a wife, and I have a son and another kid on the way that, you know, I have to worry about. That they're part of my life, and I can't put my ego or anything ahead of that. So long story short, I assessed the risk based on our guides, and guys, we had world-class guides. I have no clue how we got these guides that were this good, but one of our guides was the world speed record holder for climbing Mount Everest and Mount Aconcagua, which are two ridiculous mountains. And then the other guide had summited Mount Rainier 125 times. So ultimately, it came down to me putting my trust in these guides and their ability to tell us if something was unsafe or we needed to go back down. And I accepted the challenge. And you know what? I made it to the top. And I don't think I could have done it without these guides, and I give them a lot of thanks. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, I came home and I had a conversation with my wife, and I said, I will never do a consequential climb like that again, because it's not worth losing my life over to just accomplish something like that. So that's the commentary, guys. That's what I wanted to talk about. I would love to hear you guys' feedback, and I encourage you guys to think about challenges in your own life and put your life into perspective and challenge yourself with things going forward. So I enjoyed talking with you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks.